In this video we're going to discuss CRA models for dividing a decimal by a decimal. So we're going to have one example where we're looking at a whole number quotient and one as a decimal quotient. So for our first one we have 6/10 divided by 2/10, and we're going to show why this is equal to 3. So our 6/10, our dividend, that's our starting amount, so you have 6/10 shown here. And again, when we have a decimal divisor, it's going to be easiest to model this as a measurement division type of problem, where this is representing the size of each group. Okay, so 6/10 divided into groups with the size of 2/10. This one's fairly straightforward. So we can separate these out. So we don't have anything in that original 6/10 that has not been placed into a group of 2/10. So we're looking at how many groups with the size of 2/10 do we have. We have 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 shown on the model there. Okay. So that's the concrete model. For the representational model, I'm just going to do a quick drawing, since this is a little more straightforward one. So again, we can have these lines representing our tenths. So we have 6/10, and then for creating groups of 2/10, we could kind of draw arrows showing moving them around, or we could just draw circles or rectangles around those, but that's showing that we have created 3 groups that have a size of 2/10. And this will be our abstract model, again making connections to that 6/10 being the starting amount, 2/10 being the size of each group, and that 3/10 that quotient representing the number of groups. So that's our first example, and we'll look at one that's a little bit more challenging. So we have a decimal quotient. This is also going to be kind of a challenging variation of that, where our starting amount is smaller than the size of the group that we want to create. Okay. All right, so for the concrete model, we use the base 10 blocks. We have 2/10 here. Okay, so that's our starting amount. Our divisor, 5/10, so that's the size of each group. So we want to create groups with the size of 5/10. And then our quotient is the number of groups. Okay, so we're going to show why this quantity is equal to 4/10 of a group that has a size of 5/10. Okay. So if we're thinking of a group of 5/10, sometimes it's helpful to actually bring that in for comparison. Right? So from these 2/10, we obviously cannot create a full group of 5/10. Right? But we want to think of rearranging this or breaking this apart. So we're going to decompose these actually into hundredths, so we can move these around to kind of match this structure. Okay, so if we have 5/10, kind of how I have it shown here, I have 5 full tenths. Okay, so I have 5 columns that each contain 10 hundredths. Okay. So we're going to break this apart. So we have 2/10, so we have a total of 20 hundredths here. So we're going to rearrange this so that we have 5 columns. And try to compare this to that model of 5/10 to see what portion of a model with the size of 5/10 do we have. So I'm going to move those tenths aside since we're bringing our hundredths on. So again, we're making columns of 5. Okay, so all we've done so far is we've taken our 2/10 and converted that into 20 hundredths and rearranged those, so it's the same quantity still. Okay, so the reason again we put 5 columns is because we're trying to visualize what portion of a group of 5/10 is this little model here. Okay, so we have those 5 columns in both, but you'll notice if we actually had a full group of 5/10, each column would include 10 of these small cubes, 10 of those hundredths. Okay. If we're comparing this, we'll notice that each of these columns only has 4 out of those 10 pieces in each column all the way throughout the model. Okay. So this little area model here, this little portion, this is 4/10 of a group that has a size of 5/10. Okay, because this is a group of 5/10, and we have the first 4 out of the total 10. That's what we have in this model. So this is representing 4/10 of a group of with a size of 5/10. So that's why we have that 4/10 in the tenths place value. Okay. Okay, so that's our concrete model. Try to move this without making too big a mess. And then for the representational model, I actually drew this just on the same grid, since I was able to, just with the kind of small decimal size. So this is our starting amount, our 2/10, And then again, we're just rearranging this so that it has 5 columns. We're looking at what portion of a group with a size of 5/10 do we have. Okay? So if we actually had a full group with a size of 5/10, again, it would be this entire region over here. Right. So it'd be all 5 of these 10s, but we just have 4 out of the 10 equal parts in each column. So this is going to be 4/10 of a group with a size of 5/10. Okay? And this will be our abstract model as well up here again, making connections between that dividend being our starting amount, the divisor being the size of each group, and then the quotient being the number of groups of that size.